Hello fellow modelers and styling fanatics, welcome back to my channel. I hope that everyone is doing fine and enjoys the hobby. Concrete Bunker is back again today with another one of its notorious episodes. So, what are we working on today's episode, you may ask, and I am here to answer to that question. I know that most of you guys expect me to continue my work on the Piper body build, but I am quite a compulsive builder, so I did something else. I worked on something else, to be honest with you. So, a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, got into wargaming, more specifically in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So, he had some miniatures, he assembled them, and he commissioned me to paint those. So, he gave me 10 of those as a test batch to see if we like the paint scheme that I would paint, and from that point forward we will see. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of today's video. On today's video we are working on these guys. Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Orruk Worklands, Orruk Ardboys. So we're gonna paint 10 guys. I would love to assemble these guys in front of the camera, but unfortunately my friend did all of that work himself, so he brought me the miniatures fully assembled. But while I was painting the video, I decided to make a small tutorial. I decided to share my experiences on painting them, and this is what you are going to watch today. If you are really interested to see my painting experiences and how I got into how I changed my mind while I painted those, stick until the very end of the video to see a small tutorial. So I don't want to bore you any further. There is no reason for me to do that. You guys all know the drill. Grab yourselves a seat, crack the mandatory cold one or a hot brew, depending when you are in the world and what time it is right now, and let's see what me and Past George have prepared for you guys in this episode. So let's start. We have this guy holding a spear. He is almost there, almost done, yeah. They are already glued on their bases. I would skip that step, I would leave the bases up until the very end, mainly because we need to do something on the base, probably, I don't know. I have to consult my friend first. So here is the first guy. Let's zoom a little bit to give you a closer look. Quite nasty. Quite a nasty fella, You don't want this guy to run behind you, to chase you. There's another guy. Here is our second guy. He has a full mask. That's cool, a deviation from the usual, so we won't have any facial expressions. Well, he looks more menacing with a full mask, if you ask me, and if you ask me, I would have used this full mask on a different miniature, but anyway. As you can also see, their armor plates, let me zoom in a little bit, are a little bit on the rough side. That's how they came straight out of the box. They are orcs after all. They battered iron into shape so they can make crude armor and weapons. He also has a spear. Most of them have a spear. Third guy is over here. Sorry, some toy of my children decided to come back to life. So, as I said, the third guy He is almost on a striking pose or on a defense pose. Nice crude shield. The shields and the armor are gonna take nicely, you know, the highlighting, the dry brushing, sorry, not highlighting, sorry. And he also has some, you know, details like pouches over here, and etc, etc. We have some fabric to paint, so we're gonna have different textures. I have a plan in my mind, but nothing solid yet. We're gonna see how it goes. Fourth guy. Another pose, you know, quite dynamic pose. As you can see, we have also chainmail on those guys. We have almost everything, you name it, they have it. Quite battered armor over there. Nice pose. Pretty unique shield. Shield is consisted from different medias, you know, like bones. This is supposed to be a bone, not a bone, a tooth, and the rest of it is metal shape, like a tooth. Also, the shields have some damage. I may weather, you know, the armor and the shields a little bit of those guys. I don't know yet. These are my thoughts. I will, you know, proceed as I go. And they will need a little bit more cleanup, you know. I just spotted something over here, exactly where the edge of my file is. And that's it for this guy. He is also one of the guys that have full masks, full armor mask. This is not his face, as you can probably see, as you can probably tell, sorry. Fifth guy, another menacing dude with a mask. Oh, a lot of masks. I didn't realize that yesterday while I was while I was having them onto my desk, you know, cleaning most of them, not everything, just the majority. And it looks like I have more parts to clean. I have seam lines to scrape. Ooh, that's why I like to assemble my miniatures myself, mainly because I can give the required attention at each piece individually. Also another interesting pose. Some accessories over here. He also has a dagger, another guy with a spear as well. All of them had spears, but I did some changes. I changed that. Another guy is half mask. I think. No, that's not a half mask. That's another masked guy. Okay. A crude spears, nice detail over here at this spot. Fabric as well, smaller shield. Okay, I can make this work. He has a skull of some kind over here, quite muscular. This is gonna be a great spot for highlights, as you can see. The muscles are pronounced over here. That's gonna be a good miniature to paint. These guys have a lot of armor. Okay. Looks like, I think that they're supposed to be something like stormtroopers. I don't know, I have no idea from Age of Sigmar, but
since those are given to me to work on with them, I will and the last run-of-the-mill guy, is this one, a similar pose with another guy, full face once again, full face, full masked face, some nice details over here at his armor plate. I don't have a clue what this is. I'm gonna find out. Give me a moment. I cannot tell. I can't tell what this thing is supposed to be. Probably a bone and a strap of and a leather strap to hold the shoulder pad in his place. To hold it strapped with his armor piece there. That's what this is. Nice little fella, muscular over here. Okay. Looks I need to be careful with those guys to make them pop. And another spot that I have missed. Gate over here, guys. Sorry. I have to do it right now because later I'm gonna forget it. Better now than never. Okay. Far better. And now we have the three guys that I have converted. I'm gonna start with the easiest conversion. This is the first conversion is this guy. This guy had originally a spear, and I was bored of seeing spears, so I chopped an axe and used it as a spearhead. This will add a little bit of interest, in the army, in the badge. He's the only guy that has a different weapon. I wish I could do that with the rest of the guys, but there is no option for me right now. Here's another great guy. He has veins popping up over here. I don't know if my camera can catch it. Yep, now I think that you can see something. Quite muscular. Lovely. Very nice miniature over here. Some damage on the shield. Great. That looks great, if you ask me. Half shielded face. Okay, it looks like we're gonna paint a face over here. Their eyes are not so pronounced, so we won't be able to paint them. That's okay. Wash is gonna help us, and that's our first conversion. What I did to convert it. Okay, let's grab another guy so I can give you an example. I just did a straight cut over here, exactly at this guy's spear, and I have cut the axe, made the two cuts flat, and just glued it in place. You cannot tell. I may create a leather strap from green stuff and add it over here just for the looks of it, but I don't know yet. We're gonna see about it. I am going to decide later about that. I'm just thinking of it. So that's our first conversion, and now let me grab those two guys, the two last guys. This is one of them, and the second one. Now what I did over here, I believe that this guy, because of his pose, ought to be the banner guy. I don't know why his pose is like, let's go guys, let's go get them. So what I did, this army had originally one banner guy, and that banner guy was him. He originally had that banner, so I cut it straight from that guy and added the banner to that guy, mainly because I believe that he deserved the banner to be the banner holder. While I was searching what's left from the spruce, the parts, the leftover part, I found out another banner, which is this one. So I added it to this guy, and that's it. That's the only 3 conversions I have did in this, in this group of dudes, group of orcs. Now let me give you a closer look from the banner guys. This is the my choice of a banner guy. Okay, and that's the other guy. That's the guy I stole the banner from, the original banner. As you can see, I have sanded and smoothed the surface over here with Tamiya Extra Thin. That's why it is so shiny. And just added this one. And that's it, guys. That's what are we going to work with in this episode. A bunch of angry dudes. Not angry Kermits, this guy. This is a bunch of angry dudes. So guys, I decided that in today's episode we're gonna do something different. I'm not gonna simply show you painted miniatures, painted miniatures in various stages. I decided to actually paint one in front of the camera, mainly because mainly because I believe that this will be more interesting, and I also want to pass the message that you don't need specific colors in your collection to paint, a specific army or something like that. If you catch my drift, sometimes you want to buy a kit or you want to buy some figure and they want to sell you specific colors. No, you don't need that. You don't need specific colors, and you don't need to have all the tools. You just need to have a solid tool and some color collection. Except if you wanna do, a paint scheme that you don't have the colors to do, then you go buy them. I don't know if you catch my drift, but anyway, what I wanna show you today is that although I had no specific colors for those guys, I really painted them as close as possible to the box art. I took some artistic liberty, mainly because I wanted to, and I just used a wet palette, a random wet palette that was gifted to me from Karen. Karen is a lady who does YouTube, and she did a raffle, and I won that raffle, and the prize was a wet palette and a book. So I opted to use that wet palette. So we're gonna use this wet palette. This is a 3D printed one. There's no fancy stuff. And the other thing I have used is a simple Citadel paintbrush, the M1 layer. If that rings a bell to you. I mainly grabbed those just to test them, and that's a solid brush if you ask me. It's a synthetic one, but it is a solid paintbrush. So whatever you see on those miniatures is painted by using these two tools. Okay, I have used another city paintbrush, to be honest with you, mainly for dry brushing, but that's I don't have it laying around right now. You just need a city paintbrush, a sacrificial one, to do dry brushing. So 3 tools in total, and water. Okay, so let me show you the results. In front of us we have a unit of 10 boys, 10 Ardboys, 9 painted, and our test subject. So let's move the test subject to the side. I'm gonna show you the painted ones, and we're gonna work towards them by using this guy, by using Bob. That's how I'm gonna call him. I may change his name in the course of the video, but now I'm gonna call him Bob for the time being. So, oops. Here is, if my camera wants to focus, our results. Here is what we are striving for. My friend told me that he wanted a yellow paint scheme, but not a bright yellow, so I dulled it down quite a bit, and I weathered it down quite a bit. I also opted to do some dark parts, mainly because plain yellow armor would be boring, and this change of colors in armor pattern will add more interest and depth to your miniature. So one of the guys is this one, is this guy. The other one is this guy. Come on, focus, darling. Yeah. As you can see, most of the guys, as you will see, most of the guys wear masks in their faces, and they don't have a lot of skin areas, but there is some skin areas. There is points that you can highlight, and you can have dark spots, etc., etc. There is stuff in its miniature that you can add a visual interest, so keep that in mind. For example, this guy has armor, a chainmail, a cloth over here. Let me grab a pointer. Cloth over here. He has a skull over here, so you can paint a bone. I chose to paint those two. I chose those two are teeth, so you can paint tooth as well. He has several stuff, leather, you name it, he has it. He has many different textures and things to pick up with your paintbrush, so you won't be bored. I did some highlights, as you can see over here in the cloth, and not so bright, not so contrasty, but there are highlights there. Probably my camera won't be able to catch them, but you will understand as I will paint. Now another one. Once again, several stuff to paint. Each individual guy has his own, he's an individual, maybe some of them have similar poses, but they have different stuff, so that makes them kinda unique, when it comes to appearance. As I was painting them, I found several stuff to pick on each and every one of them. Here is a guy that has no full face mask. I should have chipped them a little bit, and I am talking about the shields, but I'm not into the mood to do that. I may chip the next ones, the next batch of them, but I believe that those This states that they are more than enough for tabletop use. I believe that you can see dark spots, dark areas, highlighted areas, etc., etc. Let me know your opinions in the comment section below about my miniature painting. I am learning quite a lot of stuff. Here is one of our banner holders. I could go even more berserk with him. I could highlight more, this thing over here on the banner, but I opted not to do so. I think that this is enough for the time being. I mainly paint stuff when I am in the mood to do it. If I'm not in the mood to do it, I'm not taking the risk. If I take the risk, there is definitely a chance to blow everything up to smithereens. I'm not gonna use the F word. You know what I'm saying, you catch my drift. Another guy, quite intimidating. He is the only one that has a dagger, but this one is closely to a sword, but anyway. Several of those guys also have, some armor damage, like scratches on the shield, on their pauldrons, etc., etc. You can pick those up nicely, you can weather them, you can do some rust tricks if you wish, or if you don't, like me, I didn't do any rust tricks. I just painted the light rust inside of those scratches and let the wash do its magic and nothing more. You will see on my Bob example what I mean. There is the toothy guy. Another quite intimidating guy. He has some stitches in his pants. He's the only one that has stitches in his pants. Quite a nice detail, It makes him stand out even more from the rest of them. I tried several different techniques on those guys. I was debating with myself if I want to do this stuff on them or that stuff, and I was experimenting, and that's why this video took so long to get produced. If you are a follower to my channel, a usual follower to my channel. There's another guy. There's another banner, the other banner guy that I created. Even though I don't like this banner a lot, but it is, quite a unique feature. So why not add it to another guy? And last but not least from the painted is this guy, probably the leader of the pack from the pose. I should give him a banner, but anyway, it is what it is right now. They are quite, weathered and grimy. I believe that since they are orcs after all, they shouldn't be, obsessed with cleanliness and keeping their armor in pristine condition. So I kinda left them, dirty in purpose, and that's not, and that is not an excuse. Okay, I did that on purpose. So now, what's left for us? Let's grab Bob. What I have done to Bob up to this stage? Simple enough. Dark primer, coated everything with dark primer, zenithal highlighting with white, as you can see from the top. I have base painted his orc skin using, let me grab, Citadel's Waha flesh. I have base coated his pair of trousers with Vallejo Panzerace's canvas because why not? I think that it is a good color for orky trousers. I have also base coated the wood on his axe with mahogany 7846 Vallejo model color, and finally I have base coated his axe head with Vallejo Model Air Panzer Dark Grey 71056, mainly because I believe that this is a really solid color for, crude metal. Crude metal if you highlight it with another metallic color. This is not a metallic color, of course. I just find this dark grey to be just right for what I wanna do. So, what these miniatures teach me up to this point. First and foremost, the first thing that this miniature taught me is to how properly paint them. How to properly start to work with them. Of course, when you apply your base coats as every miniature, but what area do you finish first? The areas that you wanna finish first is the most inner layer of the miniature. When I am talking, what I mean by talking about inner layer, the miniature, this guy has layers. First layer, of course, is the armor. Second layer is the cloth. Third layer is the leather. For example, third layer, I may mix them up. Let's start again. So, first layer from the inner side of the miniature to the outer side is his flesh. Second layer is the cloth texture. Third layer is the leather. And fourth layer is, of course, the armor. As I've said once again, moving from the inner point to the outer point. So, the first thing that you wanna take care is the flesh tones. Then you are working with the cloth in this case. And why do I state that? You finish with the flesh tones first, and you don't care if any excess paints, if any accidents happen and you miss and you hit with green the armor. So mainly because it is unpainted, it is on primer stage, you don't care if you make any mistakes. And since this is the inner part, it is more difficult for you to do a mistake later. As you paint the armor, as you paint the armor later, it is quite difficult to make a mistake and paint his flesh by accident. So that's the way you work on a miniature. You start from the inner layer and you work towards the outer layer, one step at a time. So what I am gonna do right now, I am going to apply the first layer of highlights on his skin. So let me zoom in a bit. Hopefully I'm gonna be in frame. Oh, come on. I'm not, promising anything, guys. I am far from the ideal cameraman over here. So bear with me. I'm gonna give it my best shot. So first layer of highlights will be Vallejo model color 7967 olive green, and second layer, the brightest highlight, will be done with pale green, Vallejo model air 71097. Let me grab my wet palette, of course, and I have taken those paints off camera. So this is going to be our first layer, and this is going to be our second layer. You don't need a lot of paint for one miniature, so keep that in mind. You also need to have the alpha and the omega in your paintbrush, is to have a quite pointy tip. Okay, if your paintbrush doesn't have a pointy tip, then it is rubbish. You keep it for weathering or for other purposes, so keep that in mind. Let's load our brush with paint, unload it a little bit in a piece of paper that I have close by, and let's start. Okay. Ooh, I don't like the consistency of paint. I needed to shake the bottle a little bit more. I think that the bottle is reaching its end. Okay, quite the opaque layer. Let's start. So we're gonna hit the raised areas, the areas that should be the brightest, like his bald spot, his eyebrows, and his ear. That's all. His ears. That's all for the head. Now, what else? You move towards his neck, of course, and you will hit the pronounced muscles. Only the pronounced parts. You don't need to cover everything, just a small area. Remember, we are doing highlights. Let me move the wet palette off the way so my camera can focus even better. Just a little bit of color will do the job nicely. Of course, and don't forget his fingers, his palm and his fingers. Now you're gonna watch me paint in really weird angles. You also need to maintain the pointingness, the sharp edge of your paintbrush, so keep that in mind while you work around your miniature. You can skip this part over here, this hand, mainly because it's on a difficult to see spot. You can do some cheat over there. So that's our first layer, first highlight layer. So before we move to the next one, we need to wait for this one to completely dry, except if you wanna wet blend those colors. I haven't tried wet blend yet, so I'm not gonna demonstrate that. Now, while I am waiting for this to dry, I'm gonna work on another area, mainly because I don't have a lot of time, and mainly for video purposes, I wanna do this as compressed as I can. So we're gonna work on to the second layer of this miniature, which is none other than the cloth texture, as I've said. So For the cloth, mainly because I wanna add some visual interest, we're gonna use Citadel's Mephiston Red. You can also use Vallejo Red RLM 23 71003. This is a brighter red, so I use this for base coat, and I will use this for highlights. You can use whatever red you have. Nobody is gonna know the difference, if you don't use a specific color. As long as you have two reds or a color that you can, or not a bright red, a dark red, and a color that you can dilute it to make it brighter, so you can do some highlights, you are good to go. Now let me grab a little bit of paint. I am gonna grab it straight from the pot. I am going to add it, of course, to my wet palette off camera. You don't need to see that. And I am gonna immediately work on his cloth. You see, I don't care if I hit any other areas, like the leather straps of his armor, etc., etc. I just need to be extra careful only not to hit the flesh parts of the miniature, which is quite difficult for me to do. Let me check. Also, you just constantly need, if you are painting a batch of guys like me, you are constantly need to check if you have painted everything you need to paint. It happened to me quite a lot of times to need to retouch some areas, to revisit some colors, mainly because I was in a rush and I didn't give the amount of attention. I was painting skin, and then I was moving back to cloth, and then I was going once again back to armor, etc., etc. So make sure that you take care of all of the cloth parts of a batch of miniatures, so you won't need to revisit that. So let me check if this guy has any other areas that we need to paint. We need to paint red cloth textures. No. Okay, then we are gonna move on. Now this is another color that we need to wait to dry. Another area that we need to wait to dry in order to apply some highlights. I know that I am quite chaotic right now, but have trust in the process, guys. This is gonna turn out solid. So next up, what are we gonna do? Okay, next up we have the leather parts. Now for the leather parts I could use Vallejo red leather, but nope, I didn't use that. This time I used Vallejo Modelaire German red brown, mainly because I just wanted to experiment a little bit with this color. I usually use it to paint armor, World War II armor. Why not to see how it performs as a miniature painting color. Now what are we gonna paint with this? We're gonna paint those leather straps on his boots, on his feet I should say. I don't think that these leather straps are parts of his boot, but anyway, you catch my drift. You can really clearly see what I am painting right now. Let me move the paper so you can have an even better view. Go slow. Don't see me work quickly. I am used to it. You know, I am quite experienced with the paintbrush. I know how to avoid some areas. I have learned how to keep my hands steady. This is a technique to keep your hands steady that you learn as you paint. As you paint more, you practice, you know. As with everything in life, the more you do something, the better you become. So, okay, he has another leather strap over here, and another leather strap over here, and what I've told you, I forgot to highlight his muscles on this hand. Now we're gonna revisit the olive green. What did I tell you guys? You need to be extra careful with those stuff. Just a dot will be enough. Okay, back to red brown. Clean my paintbrush, give me a moment. Sorry, I have also caught a cold, and I know that I'm not here, you're not hearing me well, but anyway, it is what it is. My kids bring some viruses inside the house, so I am prone to them. Kids are biological weapons. Most of the parents know that. So we also need to paint the leather straps on his, the leather bracelets he has, and we also need to paint the leather straps on his weapon. Now keep in mind for you guys that you are using a wet palette and you are using Vallejo colors. Model layer colors are pretty thin on their own, so don't overdo that, don't thin them even more. You just slap them onto the wet palette and you are almost immediately ready to go. Let me double check once again. Over here. Okay. I think that's every leather part of his armor. Now next up we have to do the armor plate. His armor, but I don't want to do that yet. I want to let this thing dry a little bit, and I am going to be back for the next stages. So our next steps will be to finalize the highlights on the skin. So I'm gonna grab a pale green. This is the lighter color of green that I have in hand. currently. Okay, in the future I may have an even more later, and I am going to highlight the same areas that I have highlighted with olive green, but in smaller portions, you know, just a little bit of pale green will do it. This is the brightest highlight. We don't need to go crazy, you know, just in the very raised areas, in the most pronounced areas of his skin. So just a small dot here and there in his most pronounced muscles will do the job. Keep that in mind. You don't need to go berserk. You also don't need to go in such lengths to add another highlight layer. Or if you wish, you can go even more berserk and add more and more highlight layers. So that is good. As I've said, I have hit the same areas, but with a smaller amount of paint, you know. And that's it. My camera won't focus, but don't worry guys, I am going to take some pictures at the very end, pictures of the finished products at the very end, so you can understand exactly what I am talking about. Now, what's our next layer? Our next layer will be the chainmail on his armor. So for the chainmail, what I have used, let me shake it a little bit, the same color that I used for highlighting all the iron parts, Lead Belcher from Citadel. Now this is a color that I don't add at all on my wet palette, mainly because it is a metallic color and metallic colors don't work well in my case with wet palettes. I don't know if there is a secret behind them, but you know, they just don't work well for me if I add them to the wet palette. You cannot, you know, thin them with water, at least with plain water. Now you just need to paint the chainmail with that color. Only the raised areas. You can also highlight the chainmail with that color if you wish, but in my case I am fully covering you know, the area that I wish to paint. Apart from the chainmail, those guys have some other, you know, detail spots. He, for example, has something in his robe over here. Okay, as you can see, I catch that as well, and I don't think that he has something else. Let me double and triple check. Nope, I think that we are good, so that's great. Now, what do I need to do? What it is going to be my next step? Usually I would finish the cloth, but since I am recording this and I wanna be efficient, I am gonna, you know, take another route than the usual route I have taken in the previous 9 miniatures. Now I am going to base coat his armor. I am gonna start with a darker color, which is none other than Panzer Grey. Let me grab it. Yep. I am going to apply, give it a little bit of shake first. Apply some on my wet palette off camera. Trust in the process, guys. Trust the process. And then go. So I will paint this area of the armor with Panzer Dark Grey. This will separate his two pauldrons. You know, the two yellow pauldrons will contrast nicely with the yellow color. And will make the miniature pop even more. Be extra careful on the edges. As you can see, I am. This is the part where I go slow and steady. I would go steadier if there wasn't a camera in front of me, but anyway. Now we also need to paint the rear part of his boots. The very end of his of the armor that he wears on his hands. And as you can also see, I am covering the whole thing with a quite, diluted paint. You don't need to go crazy. We also need to paint his what's this part? Okay, this part of the leg. I cannot remember. I will probably remember in the editing sequence. This will separate his his leg armor. This will add also interest. We won't have just a full block of yellow. We will contrast is also another important part when you're doing miniature painting. Nobody likes to see just a plain block of a color. Either that color is yellow or black or blue. We need to add some visual interest. We need to separate parts of his armor or parts of him in general. I also chosen to paint those parts on his shield. Hopefully I was in frame. Hopefully, I believe that I wasn't in frame. Now he has an additional armor plate before his shield. I have chosen to paint this one with dark grey, mainly because it is quite the shaded area over there. Why bother painting that yellow, since you can create artificial shade and save yourself the trouble of highlighting this. And I will also paint dark grey the additional armor panels that are not stitched, bolted on his shield and armor. More visual interest, guys, more visual interest. Okay, let me see if he has Any more additional armor parts? Okay. Let me apply a little bit more pencil gray on my white palette. I was a little bit stingy. I needed another drop. Okay, he has 2 additional armor parts over here. And now I am going to paint some bone texture on the horns that he has on his mask. Now for the bone texture I have, let me remember what have I used. Okay, I think that it was not a combination, it was a base coat and a highlight. My base coat was Citadel's Wraithbone and the highlight was Vallejo model color Dark Sand. So let me load my paintbrush with Wraithbone. We don't need a lot. Okay, now what we need to do what I will do right now off camera, I am going to base coat the rest of his armor with tan yellow Vallejo model color 7912. This is going to be our base coat for yellow. If I wanted a vibrant yellow, I would have chosen a pink as a base coat, mainly because pink as a base coat helps yellow to be more vibrant. I know that it sounds weird, but it works, believe me guys. Yellow in general is a paint with poor coverage, so it needs to be helped with a strong and solid, base coat. This base coat is none other than pink. But in this case, I don't want a vibrant yellow. I want, a desaturated yellow. So I am going to start with tan yellow. I'm gonna do this off camera, mainly because I don't want to bore you guys, and I am going to be back for the rest of our painting process. Do we need to do right now? We need to dirty this guy up. We need to create some shadows, some artificial shadows, and for this job, our ideal tool to use is a wash. Now, for different colors, you need to use different washes. For metallic colors, like silver, etc., you need to use a black wash. For yellow colors and you need to for yellow colors, and I don't remember any other type of color. We need to use a brown wash, a dark brown wash. Either you go with a dark brown or Humbrol. In my case, I will go with the Orruk Ard shade, mainly because I have it laying around, mainly because I have added it to my collection, because I am a sucker for colors, etc. But I wanted to see I wanted to see how it works, how it performs, not it works, sorry. Now, wash is another color. Washes in general is another color that you don't need to dilute, except if you are creating a wash out of oil paints, which of course, and you will dilute oil paints to create washes. Now, I am going to grab some straight out of the pot. Oh my god, I have hit the camera, sorry guys. I am going to wipe most of the excess over here at the jar, and I am going to apply it haphazardly, and there is a reason for that. Don't worry guys, I will fix it. You will see what I will do and what you can do as well with your washes. I will apply a wash over my armor. I am going, of course, to skip the face and the flesh. If I wanted to apply wash over there, I would go with a green wash, just to, you know, complement the surface even more. Ooh, I grabbed a lot this time, don't worry, I'm gonna fix it. Let your wash flow in all the recesses. Don't take me as an example right now. I am going fast, as I've said, with video purposes, necessities. But you, for the keen-eyed out there, you can see that I am guiding my wash onto the recesses and onto the nooks and crannies of the armor. You can do the same. You can guide your wash before it dries to your preferred place. I will also apply the same wash onto his pair of trousers, onto all the leather surfaces, onto our cloth as well. As I've said, I want to create artificial shadows. And this is the ideal time for me to do that. The keen-eyed amongst you, you will see that I am not using a lot of wash. I am loading my brush and keep working it around. And now I will unload my brush in my paper towel and remove any excess before it dries. I know it looks crappy for the time being, but bear with me, have trust in the process. I know I say that a lot, but there is a reason behind that. You can do it this way, or you can wait for the wash to dry and clean it with mineral spirits. But I don't have the time to wait this time. As you can see, as I've said, I am removing any excess wash from the areas I don't want it. I don't want it. I am guiding it here and there. Oh my god, this cold is killing me. This cold. This flu is killing me, sorry. And this is quite a hot day here. Wash is drying quickly. I'm gonna screw it up. I'll just let it be. Now, let me close the pot. I will use another way. I don't worry at all. As you can see, I am making it as I go. I am quite flexible. My experience made me flexible. So, what are we gonna do now? We're gonna leave him to dry, okay? And then when we will come back, we will, now I'm gonna do this off camera. I am going to highlight when I will return. I will already apply some highlights onto the cloth, onto his trousers, and probably onto his armor. Now for the highlights, what I am going to use, keep in mind that I will only hit the raised areas with highlights. Now for the cloth, I am going to combine Mephiston red with this red, the Vallejo Modeler red 71003, red RLM 23. I am going to mix these two colors, create a lighter tone of the base coat, and I will only hit, as I've said, I will only apply it to the raised areas of the cloth. Now for the leather, I'm not gonna touch it at all, mainly because it is the detail is quite, small, quite small. You could touch it if you want, but it will be fine, if you ask me, in this case. So I won't do anything at all. Now for his trousers, I am going to dilute some canvas with dark sand, create a lighter tone, and I am once again gonna apply it onto his raised surfaces. And last but not least, I am going to, for the armor, I am going to dilute some tan yellow, some dark sand, and some simple yellow, RLM 04, 71058, and once again hit the raised surfaces. So at the moment that I will return, this will be highlighted. Remember, hit only, apply the highlights only onto the raised surfaces of its texture, cloth, armor, trousers, etc., etc. You catched my drift. You don't need to see me apply highlights. Once again, I will do this off camera, and I will return for the final dry brushing that will be applied on his weapons and parts of his armor. You will see. And last but not least, I am going to highlight the teeth that are protruding from his faceplate with dark sand. Okay, but guys, Bob is almost ready. There is three, to be honest, before we finalize his appearance. First step, dry brushing his wooden spear, okay, his axe, the wooden handle of his axe. Now, as I've said, this one is coated with mahogany brown, and I'm gonna dry brush it with Vallejo Banzer Aces Old Wood 310. I believe that you guys are familiar with dry brushing. You load your sacrificial brush with paint, and when I'm saying sacrificial brush, this is what my choice is. You see, this brush is done, is toasted. There is no sharp edge on this one, so I keep it for weathering purposes. So I load my brush with old wood. I take most of it out in a paper towel, and then lightly hitting the surface, lightly tapping it, so only the raised surfaces will catch this coat of color. Simple as that, simple yet effective, I will add. Now the effect is so faint that My camera won't be able to catch it, but believe me, it's there. You can see it if you follow this quote-unquote tutorial closely. Now that's one step done and another one to go. Now I have cleaned my brush, dipped it in the water. Now I wanna dry it, take the excess of water off, the excess water off my brush. Once again, it is ready, and now whenever I have coated the miniature with Panzer Grey, I am going to dry brush it with lead belcher, mainly because I need to depict crude metal, He is an orc after all. I don't believe that he will be a great weaponsmith. So, let's start with his axe head. I am going to insist at his chopping edge. This will be the most shiny and bright part. Give me. Dry brushing is quite effective. It gives you that faint effect of metal, shiny metal. If you catch my drift, it is a nice way of weathering and catching raised surfaces detail, etc., etc. In this case, it gives depth to the metal surfaces of the miniature, and it also creates a nice effect. I believe that you can see this. You can see how the color is trapped in the raised surfaces of his armor, and you can clearly see what I am talking with depth. Now all this detail we wouldn't see it when the part was coated with Panzer Grey, but since I've dry brushed lead belcher or any other iron color on top of it, it cuts the surface, the detail quite nicely, This is our last, not our last, one of the final steps. The final step is none other than coating this miniature in matte varnish, flat matte varnish. This miniature, or this and all the other miniatures. And this is it, guys. This is how I this is the process that I have followed to paint the Orruk Ardboys. Let me give you a closer look. This is our result in a quick and haphazard way. Let me see if my camera can focus. Focus, please, darling. Let me move it a little bit. Sorry, guys. This is it, guys. Here is Bob in all his glory. Now, all these effects will change a little bit with the application of the matte varnish, mainly because the surface will be dulled down even more. Now, if this guy was a knight, you know, a guy who have taken care of his armor, I would attempt to spray a satin varnish. But since this guy is an orc and he doesn't care a lot, he lives his solely purpose in life is fighting, matte varnish it is. So what do you say, guys? What's your opinion for my process? Did you find anything useful at all? Did you like it? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, as I've said, my next step will be to code all these guys. Let me give you a group photo of them. My next step will be to coat all these guys in matte varnish. Oh, I almost dropped that guy there. Come on, and the banner holders. Face the camera, dude. So, on to the next clip, you will see those guys finished. Apart from the bases, I will leave them as they are, mainly because I haven't conversed with my friend what are we gonna do them, and I have no idea, to be honest with you. I have no inspiration on what to do. So I am going to leave the bases as they are for the time being. I'm not gonna do anything at all on them, mainly because it is wasted time for me to do this at this moment in time. And this is it, guys. You probably won't be able to tell clearly, but every miniature is dull coated, matte coated. What I have used for clear coat application is none other than Windsor's and Newton's Galleria acrylic varnish, the matte version the matte variant in this case, and it is the one I trust. It is the one I use mostly. Everything went as I have planned. I am really happy with the outcome, and there is nothing further for me to note. I know that you probably won't be able to tell a lot from this group video right now in front of you, but stick until the very end, because I am gonna throw some close-up photos from each and every single guy you see in front of you. And with all that said and done, we have made it to the end of this video, of this episode. On our next episode, we will probably resume our work on our Panther bodybuild project, and we will see from that point forward. I hope that you guys found this video helpful and interesting, and stick along for the next one. Before I go, I want to thank each and every one of you guys that watched this video. A special thank you to all my subscribers, old and new ones. You guys are the best, and you are the reason I keep doing these videos. Now, for the newcomers out there that encounter one of my videos for the first time, welcome, guys. I hope that you like what I do. If so, you all know what to do. Leave a like, comment with your thoughts and opinions, share the video if you believe it deserves to be shared, or even consider subscribing for more builds to come your way. Until the next time, fellow modelers and friends, take care and model on. It was that Mofo Demon signing out.